Okay, so we'll do the next section, 23 to 29. Who feels inspired to share? So we'll just do the theme, okay? We don't have to take each verse, and so that we'll do in the detailed discussion. So when we are summarizing, it is just the thematic verse, the thematic continuation from 23 to 29. And then the last section. Or you can do it all together also. It's not necessary to take it up. It's just that it is two sections. That's why I mentioned it. Okay, any hands up? Or okay. Mr. Chaitanya Prabhu put his hand up. I saw it. Okay, Prabhuji, you can unmute and start.
Yeah. Do you hear me?
Yeah,
Thank you. So basically, devotional service comprises of three components. First is Bhagavan, devotional service, and devotees. Now, till this 22, we are glorifying the devotional service. Now the chance of glorifying the Bhagavan. So to glorify Bhagavan, we need to know him very thoroughly. So the process starts from 23rd to 33, 22, to 30, and then 30 to 33, and then 34. So 3 stages. So for the glorification of Bhagavan, we start from 23. First, why we worship Vishnu? That question arises over Brahma and Shiva, because Vishnu signifies the goodness. So devotional service starts from the stage of goodness. For that, we need to know why we should worship Vishnu. And then Prabhupada clearly mentioned about why we should obey the demigods, but we don't worship Shiva or Shiva, Brahma, or other demigods, irrespective of Vishnu. The reason is Vishnu is the source of goodness. From there, we come to the essence of Vishnu, which is the glorification of 28, 29, because we need to worship Vishnu because he is the essence of all Vedas. The purpose of sacrifice is to please him, yoga for realizing him, fruitive activities rewarded by him is the supreme knowledge, and austerities are performed to know him. Religion is the loving service unto him and is the supreme goal of life. That is the reason why we worship Vishnu. Then comes the this creation. Why Lord Krishna created this material world? And that Vishnu comes in 3 Purusha Avata, which is Karanadakshay Vishnu, Garbhadakshay Vishnu, and then Shirodakshay Vishnu. Shirodakshay Vishnu, which is the Paramatma, lives in our heart and help us to get connected with the Supreme Lord. And that is the source of our relation. So that gives us the answer to question number 3. And the last is 34, which is the object of this. The last comes, why Krishna took birth in this material world? Because he did this pastime to reclaim those in the mode of pure goodness. So these are the basic outline from 23 to 34. Yeah, Hare Krishna.
That's good. It's nicely put together. Linking that. Anybody else wants to add anything? Anday Mataji, you wanted to add to that?
Prabhu, I think Prabhuji has covered everything very nicely. I had done a very short, I've got my points, but I had done a very short summary, so I'll just read that.
Sure.
Because I got inspired by your post-it note in the last session. So I said, I'll do something similar, even though I've got detailed notes as well, but I'll just go with the summary. So in this section, Krishna is indirectly associated with the three modes of material nature. Even then, it is said that Krishna's worship is supreme, it's preferred, and the purpose of the other manifestations, such as the Purusha avatars, have a specific purpose. Then it talks about Sattva Guna is best because it leads to the understanding of the absolute truth. We must follow in the steps of the Mahajans. On our own effort, we would be lost. So in this journey, and the quality of those who are serious about liberation is all about being non-envious, and it's all about respecting all other living entities created by Krishna, including the demigods, but we should not be worshipping. So we should be respecting all, but worshipping only Krishna. And the conclusion is all about Krishna is the maintenance and creator of the whole universe, including all living entities, demigods, human, jiva, all jivas, in that, and his worship is supreme, and that's the ultimate goal of life. And it also talks about how Krishna comes, if Krishna comes through his incarnations or he sends his representatives like Srila Prabhupada, which is why we're having this, because we cannot do that without his mercy.
Yeah, that's succinctly put. I think that's a good way, because just quickly threading it together is what we need to do. Then it sticks. Otherwise, once we move ahead with the chapter, we'll forget this.
Yes.
Okay. Anybody else wants to add quickly before we get on to the detailed discussion?
Also, it mentions about how this devotional service has been done by all the great sages, and by following the footsteps of all the Mahajans, all the 12 Mahajans, one can take the practice of this devotional service. And also it is mentioned that, to do austerity is also one of the things that one must do austerity, that is voluntary, taking pain to do this devotional service. And the example of Devaki and Vasudeva is also mentioned, that how they did austerity to get Krishna in their life. So, and then, it is mentioned about how Krishna is in his plenary portion, the plenary portion, plus he enters into each and every planet, into each and every atom. Yeah, and that's how he's sustaining the whole material creation.
So we'll recite the verses 23. This is a long. Sattvam rajastama iti prakritir gunamai yukta paraha purusha eka ihasya dhatte Stityadare harivirinchi
Haritti samyaha Shreyamsi tatra kalu sattvatanur nirnam shuyah.
The transcendental personality of Godhead is indirectly associated with the three modes of material nature, namely passion, goodness, and ignorance. And just for the material world creation, maintenance, and destruction, he accepts the three qualitative form of Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. Of these three, all human beings can derive ultimate benefit from Vishnu, the form of the quality of goodness.
So very important aspect. So this section 23 to 29, if you have to summarize, it just says why we should only worship Krishna. And we should understand it scientifically with complete reasoning. And it should not be just an emotional, fanatic way to say only Krishna and no other devatas. So this section teaches us why it is so. And the deeper we get into the purports and these verses, the better our understanding is going to be. So whilst we understand the position of the devatas and we need to respect them, but we should not worship them. Worship is reserved only for Vishnu, just like Kirtan is reserved only for Krishna. The same analogy. In the purport, Prabhupada very nicely defines two important concepts. We kind of know both of those concepts, but he's put it in a very simple language to understand. First of all, he defines who is Paramatma. Okay. We know Paramatma is God, is supreme, but we don't know the details of it. If somebody wants to ask us, can you talk a bit more about Paramatma, we might not be able to have so much information of it or impart that. So here in the purport, Prabhupada says the Vishnu or the deity of the quality of goodness. So Vishnu is what? Vishnu is nothing but, and he's the transformation of Krishna himself for the creation of this material world. But what is Vishnu in himself? He is the deity of the quality of goodness in this material world. That is very important. So the Purusha avatars are referred to material creation. Because there are other Vishnu forms in Vaikuntha, right?
Yes.
They are eternal. They have nothing to do with material creation. So they are also called Vishnus. Correct? But this Vishnu is different. So these are specific. These Vishnus have got specific names. Of course, even in Vaikuntha they have got names, but they are innumerable. But here there is a name. And what is that name? That is called, is one of the Purusha avatars, as we know. And is called Shirodaksha Vishnu, who enters into each and every atom, each and every being, and he is there in the hearts of all living entities as Paramatma. He also has his own planet. He also has his own abode. It is not that he is only there in our heart only. Some people have that understanding. Lord, the form that is residing in our heart is Paramatma. Yes, that is correct, but that is not complete. Because Krishna can be simultaneously at many places. So whilst he is there in our heart as Paramatma, he is also there in his own planet, in his own abode. And where does he live? Anybody remembers? Where is the abode? He lies on an ocean of
Shweta ocean. Dudh ka Ksheer Sagar.
Daksha comes from the word Ksheer. Right? We have to take so much effort to make Ksheer. And this Shirodaksha Vishnu is lying on Ksheer. Right? So very difficult to comprehend, it's inconceivable. So we can't, if you tell somebody the Lord is lying on an ocean, not even on a pool. Pool you can imagine. He's lying in an ocean of kheer, not just milk. Somebody will say, you've gone crazy. So this is that personality, and he is known as Paramatma. So it's a very simple 2 lines, but he's given us so much information. And then further on in the same purport, Prabhupada writes, the difference between integrated forms of Vishnu and separated forms of Vishnu. 2 very important concepts. Again, it's not brand new to us, but the way Prabhupada describes it, it just connects. So he says the integrated forms, Vishnu is manifested by his millions and billions of integrated and separated forms. That is why he is unlimited. Because everything is a manifestation from him. Everything comes from him. And that's why in Bhagavad Gita he says, Am Sarvasya Prabhava. We read that, we memorize that. But can we explain to somebody why Krishna says Am Sarvasya Prabhava? Mata Sarvam Pravardhana. Why? Because of this reason. Everything comes from him. How? That is explained. So there are two categories. One is the integrated form, or his plenary portions, his superior energy. Of course, both are superior energy only, but one is more his plenary portions, which is the integrated form, and the other one is part and parcel, which is his integrated form. So these integrated forms, they have their own identity, but they are part of Krishna. I mean, part and parcel of Krishna. They have their own identity, but they are originally, their constitutional position is to be with Krishna. But they are separated because of their conditioned existence. So they're called separated forms. And they're called the Jivas. So here Prabhupada writes, both the Jivas and Godhead, they have their original spiritual form. Being part and parcel of Krishna, who is Satchidananda, both Godhead and the Jivas, they also are Satchidananda. But Godhead is never covered. But Jiva, being in the Tathastha Sakti, can get covered. But that is, the covering is not their constitutional position. That is to be understood very clearly. So that's why Prabhupada writes after that, Jivas are sometimes subjected to the control of material energy, but the Vishnu forms are always controllers of this energy. So both are coming from Krishna, Vishnu. But one is part of Vishnu and one is a separated part of Vishnu. So now we know that everything, whatever it is ultimately from Krishna itself. Very, very nice. So, because he is a source of everything, so where do the Devatas come? Are Devatas part of Godhead or they are part of Jivas? The Devatas.
They're
Part of God.
part and parcel.
Part and parcel.
Yes.
Separated energy or integrated energy?
Separated.
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 Separated?
Yes. It's like a jiva.
All your question is about the demigods, right, Prabhu?
Yes.
They're all separated. Can I
All
share
separated.
something, Prabhu, if you don't mind?
Sure, sure. Of course.
But I need a permission.
You have to make her host.
Oh,
share.
no, host. To
Is
just
sharing or you want to
Co-host.
say something?
share.
Oh, yeah, you can now. Look at that.
What you can
Nice.
Very nice.
Okay. Explain.
Explain, yes.
I don't want to explain, Prabhu. You can explain. I can show
You
you.
don't have to explain. Since you have
No, Prabhu is talking.
We need somebody.
Right. Okay. So in 23 to 25, I think Rangadevi Mataji already covered this part. The Supreme Godhead is indirectly associated with the three modes of material nature, that is goodness, passion, and tamas, ignorance. So the mainly why we should worship Vishnu and who is Paramatma, that's all about in this 23 to 25. That's what I understood, Prabhu, but you covered that already. So in goodness, the deity is Vishnu. Vishnu is nothing but the Paramatma, which is called, as already Prabhu covered, Shirodakshai Vishnu. It lives in the hearts of all entities. That's what I covered in the deity. In the passion, the pressure cooker and the backside you can hear. In the passion, it is Brahma, and in tamas, where the people in ignorance mode, they pray to Shiva. So have categorized like that. Prabhuji, you can tell me anything if I can add. How come I can't see you? Oh, now I can see you. I can't see everyone though. Anyways, in terms of the quality, that's what I have mentioned here. And the worship, all the Brahmanas, transcendentalists, they worship in the form of the Saligram Shila. And these are only human beings who are materialistic and foolish and ignorance. They come. My son bought a Shiva photo, and I said, "Oh, you're in ignorance mode. First, you put it in the ground floor, and the top floor is goodness." And then he slapped me. He did, and then he took a book and he read. Yeah, mom, I read. I should buy Brahma, Vishnu, and all this. I said, no need to buy anything. Just for now. So I have shown him this table. Anyways, and then. In the material world, that's what I have talked to him. In the material world, the instructions and the maintenance come from the Vishnu, that is in the goodness form, and the Brahma is created, that is in the passion, and Shiva is destruction. I think somewhere in the 25th or somewhere it comes. I can't recall. Yeah, that's about that. And the analogy is fire and smoke and the firewood. Without the fire, that's what Vishnu. So, that's what it is. And Prabhu, and what I have here is I have what in this process, what I read is till now, in the first few 19, 18, 17, 18, 19, they talk about the eagerness for us to build up how the eagerness and the urge to develop. What we do the kirtan, Shravanam, hearing, and chanting. And the next we have to understand in this list what are the modes and who is in that modes and which mode are we in and whom we have to pray. So that's how the flow is. And then we have to be in the goodness mode, that is that's the mode. In that mode, whom you should follow? You should follow the Mahajans, because you need to follow somebody. You need to not copy or see someone, like learn from the teachers. So that is the Mahajans. Who are the Mahajans? 12 Mahajans. So these are the Mahajans I have put together here. And then you follow the Mahajans too, then you're eligible for the liberation from the material world. In order to become liberated from the material world, you need to follow your Guru or Mahajan. That's about the 23 to 25. I think from 26, this is what Prabhuji is asking a question. Then immediately I thought, sorry, Prabhu, cut you there. But Vishnu is divided into two parts. That is the Vishnu Tattvas, that is integrated planetary portions, and then they separated the parts and parcels. I think we also come here, right, Prabhu? Jivas, we come in this section. Yeah, but we are not as great as them. We have a minute soul, like maybe, I don't know. So we worship Vishnu for mukti, and then we worship demigods for the temporary benefits. So these are the demigods. So our aim of the life is to end the misery, and we don't want any birth here. So that's the reason we should come into in this category. Come. Therefore, in the process of the devotional service, how to progress? What are the action steps we have to take? Apart from this Ramanam and then the Kirtanam, which we are doing it. Apart from this, I have notified, I think that is what in the following, that is very good, 28 to 29. It is
28, 29.
I think you can go ahead from here, but I have lots of notes there.
Very good, very good. No, this one, this chart is very good. You just go up. Yeah, this is very nice.
Saras.
It's very nice, Mataji. So Prabhuji, in that diagram, where does Shiva, because Shiva in the purpose, Srila Prabhupada explains, he's not a Jiva and he's not a Vishnu Tattva. So he's in the middle, right?
It's a different Tattva.
Yeah.
Shiva is a different Tattva. So he's not classified either.
Either, yeah.
He's just a transformation of Vishnu Tattva, but he's not Jiva Tattva.
Yeah, and the example of yogurt and milk is given very nicely.
Correct. So he's Shambhu. He's on a different platform.
Yeah.
Different platform. So
yeah.
Should be aware of.
Prabhu, I have a question.
Yes.
So Lord Shiva, he is in charge of the mode of ignorance, but that does not mean that he is in the mode of ignorance. Can you please clarify?
So Vishnu is in the mode of goodness. Vishnu is in charge of the mode of goodness, right? But is Vishnu under the mode of goodness?
Not material goodness.
Yeah, no. So when we say goodness, passion, ignorance, that is the material, right? So Like you said, if Shiva is in charge of the mode of ignorance, is he under? So likewise, before answering that question, we should ask, Vishnu is a controller of goodness, but is he controlled by goodness, or is he under the influence of goodness?
No.
No, he's
No,
above that.
Above it.
Yes.
So this,
The fact that somebody is a controller means that he controls that mode. The
Yeah.
mode does not control. So Shiva, he is not an ordinary Jiva who is controlled and somehow or the other he's been given the control of ignorance. No, he is the controller. And you have to understand, sometimes people think that, oh, Shiva is such a big Vaishnava, but he's doing such a, like very down kind of activity, like ignorance and worshipping, being worshipped by ghosts and pretas and bhutas and, like very abominable kind of
Activity.
association. So how come? So that's something that we should understand very clearly. So Shiva, because of his position, he is given one of the most difficult tasks. And what is the difficult task? See, you can give good information, good knowledge to somebody who is good. If somebody who is already having values and culture, you can give them better values and culture. But if somebody does not have any value and culture, and if you talk to them about values, how easily will they accept it? They will not. It will be very difficult. So somebody who is in the mode of goodness, if you give them bhakti, there is a good chance that they will take to it. But if you give bhakti to some person in the mode of passion or ignorance, will it be easy or difficult?
Oh, very difficult.
More difficult. Like goodness anyway in today's situation is difficult. Passion is even more difficult. Ignorance is practically, we can say practically close to impossible. Because that person is so conditioned that nothing will penetrate his ears. So such a person who's in the mode of ignorance, his situation is what? His situation is very bad, right? How will he be delivered? Because he's not even able to hear about bhakti, forget practicing bhakti. So who will deliver such people? They are also living entities, right? You cannot just say, oh, you're in the mode of ignorance, you go to hell. Right? We might do that, but Krishna cannot. And so he assigned, just like Krishna assigned the Pandavas to go through all these trials and tribulations, being his associates, very close associates, not just associates. So similarly, Krishna could only give this thankless, most difficult and complex task to one of his most trusted and close associates, and that is Shiva. So Shiva does a very thankless job. He has nothing to do with passion. He has nothing to do with bhutas and pishachas, but he has taken on the responsibility to deliver these people. And to deliver these people, he has to give his association. He does not take association of bhutas. He does not sit with them and eat ganja, as some of his followers claim. That is wrong. He does not do that. He never does that. His followers do it, correct. But he never does it. What is he doing? He is giving them the association, but what is he doing all the time? He is meditating.
Meditating Krishna.
He is meditating. His eyes are half closed.
Yeah.
And he's meditating on the Lord. Why? Give me, please empower me to do my job that you've given me, and I can deliver these fallen souls who have no hope. So that is the quality of Shiva, and that's why he's worshipped. Vaishnavanam yatha Shambho. He's not an ordinary person, he's not an ordinary even position for that matter. But he is not Vishnu, he is a separate person. But as close to Vishnu as we can understand from our analytical understanding. Yes, Sumit Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Just a question. So saying that Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva are the actual controller, is that the right statement? Because we have seen in Lord Krishna's pastime that Lord Brahma also got confused when in one of his pastime and he took away the cowherd boys, and then Lord Shiva got confused and fell into his own mode of ignorance and went after, what was that? When Lord Krishna came in a form of a beautiful woman, Mohini. So are they actually the controller, or they are the like, as you always say, that they are at the managerial position where the Lord has given them that authority. They are not the controller. The real controller is Lord, because when we say that they are the controller, this is where mostly impersonalists or Mayavadis, they refute. They say that, oh no, Lord Brahma is the controller. But are they actually the controller? It's just a question.
Good question. So in a company, you've got different departments, right? You've got the sales and marketing, you've got the delivery, okay, and you've got quality control. So each department has a controller, has a manager who's in charge of that department. He's the whole and soul of the department. He says yes, the department will say yes. He says no, department will say no. He's the controller. But in the company structure, is he the supreme controller?
No.
That's it. So Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva, they are the departmental heads.
Yes.
Anything to do with goodness is under Vishnu, under the control of Vishnu. Anything to do with passion is under the control of Shiva, but Shiva is not controlled. Sorry, ignorance. And everything under the mode of passion is under the control of Brahma. Right? But all of this is within this material world. These modes don't function outside. These modes function only in this material world, and they are in charge. But they in turn are controlled as well.
So Prabhu, sorry, I have a question again.
Yes.
Sumit Prabhu, are you done?
Mataji, before you start, can I just add one thing?
Yes, yes, I'm done.
Prabhu, Sumit Prabhu, it's in relation to your question. I think when you ask about the controllers, and I can't remember whether it's in the preface or in chapter 1, where it talks about there's a difference between the controller and the absolute truth. And so if they are controllers, but then the absolute truth is at the top.
Yeah, chapter 1,
Yep.
this next one.
Prabhuji gave the keyword away, right? He said that Lord Krishna is supreme controller. So that supreme word just changes.
Is the absolute truth. Yeah.
And they are departmental head.
Yeah, I'm done. Thank you.
Prabhu, so I'm just trying to understand here is that, remember that past time where Bhrigu Muni was testing who is the supreme? So he tested Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, and then Lord Vishnu. So when he went to Lord Shiva got angry. And I think Brahma also got angry. So can we say that they can also be affected by these modes, being controllers of their mode of ignorance, like Lord Shiva, and Lord Brahma being controller of mode of passion, but they can also be affected by these modes because looking at the pastime. Can you explain, Prabhu?
Okay, before concluding, I think it's good, it's nice. Okay, what I'll just leave it open, maybe. Let's deliberate on that. Okay. So everybody understood Mataji's question, right? That these three people are the departmental heads, they control that particular mode. But why is it that when Bhrigu Muni was given that task, of course there's a deal behind that. Why is it that Brahma got angry? And Shiva, I think the story is Shiva didn't get angry, but Parvati got angry. Right? When Shiva was okay, he was okay, and then Vishnu, not only forget anger, he was actually repentant that he got kicked. So why is it that they are displaying? So are they somehow or the other under some mode or not? Okay,
yes,
let's have
yes, they are under some modes, Prabhuji. Because when they create Srishti, Brahma has to create Srishti. And when he creates Srishti and then he sleeps and then again he wakes up. So Krishna wakes him up, Vishnu. So that is, they are under modes of nature as well, but not as much as we are. That's what I got from the lessons of Guru Maharaj. And we had a same discussion here. So it was both of them, even Shiva and Brahma are in the mode of nature.
Under three modes.
Under three modes, to some extent. It's not too much because they are close to God. So they have a lesser than our effect. Means what we have more because we are far from Krishna and they are close to Krishna all the time. That was a simple language we got understood. I mean, Maharaja explained to us.
So basically you're saying they are under the modes, but the influence is marginal.
Marginal, yes.
Because the influence we have is phenomenal.
Huge, yeah.
Okay. Any other points?
Lakshmi, you want to add something?
Let's hear. Mataji is reading Bhagavatam for a long time. She's been doing classes as well, so it's good to hear from her. This regard.
Is mute.
Mataji, you're-
I think the illusionary energy of the Supreme Lord is so powerful. Even in that position, we can be get affected. That's what Bhagavatam says. So that's what I wanted to share.
So pretty much like what Malti Mataji mentioned, but
Yeah.
the thing is, if we think that they are influenced by the modes, then our understanding is how can that be? Because they are the controller. So how can they be controlled? Because if they are influenced, means they are being controlled, right? Correct. So like we get influenced all the time. We are always under the modes. But you see, Brahma, when he had the Brahma Vimohan Leela, that Vimohan was for a purpose. It is not that Brahma every day and night he is bewildered. Right?
Yeah.
So there is a purpose for it. So Krishna, as Prasanna Mataji said, is he wants to tell us that we are in this material world, which is a world that we are conditioned by. So when Rigu went to Brahma, Brahma is in the mode of what? He is control of the mode of
Passion.
anger. So how did Brahma react?
Anger.
How can you, my son, get lost? When he went to Shiva, Shiva is the mode of
Ignorance.
Ignorance means
Tamo.
I'm not saying Shiva was in the mode of ignorance. I'm just saying the reaction. If you kind of join up, he didn't react. His wife reacted. Hey, how can you do that to my husband? You, blah 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 blah. And she also gave him that curse. Remember the curse of the Brahmana, that you will always remain poor. That's the story. But Vishnu, what happened? Vishnu displayed goodness.
Mode of goodness.
So Brahma acted in the mode of passion. Shiva, I mean, we can't say he acted in the mode of ignorance, but he was quiet. He didn't act at all. No, so it could be in the mode of goodness also in one way. But Vishnu acted in the mode of goodness where he was very compassionate. And of course, he didn't feel anything in any case. So it is an example. Krishna is trying to tell us that anybody in this material world can get bewildered at any point of time, even though they may be the controller of the modes. What to talk about people who are controlled by the modes? So it's to give us that understanding. So yes, they are in this material world, and that's why they are sometimes influenced. But it is not that they are completely under the influence of the mode that they control. Does that make sense?
Yes,
Yes, thank you so much.
And Prabhuji,
Thank you,
yeah,
Mataji.
and- yeah, and Prabhuji, it also mentions that that's why Brahma's position is a position. So sometimes they fall down from their position as well.
Correct.
I just wanted to add something that can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, you can.
So I was listening to one of the lectures of Chaitanya Charan Prabhu, and Chaitanya Charan Prabhu was mentioning that because of the functioning of the whole material world, these personalities, Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva, They are all into mode of goodness. But because of the functioning of the material world, Vishnu is in the mode of goodness, Brahma is into the mode of goodness, passion, and Shiva is into the mode of goodness, ignorance. Because they have to perform and function in this, make the functioning of the material world. That is the thing. And also one more thing I heard from one of the lectures, I don't remember whom, you might also tell that, why is then Shiva accepting those, or Kali is accepting those flesh and, meat and everything. So the example was given that, when anybody goes to a shopkeeper, anybody, with a black money or anything, the shopkeeper takes that money, right? The shopkeeper doesn't discriminate that this is a black money, this is that, you buy and the shopkeeper is accepting. Similarly, all these demigods are obliged to accept those offerings of the people, but they themselves, they don't eat them, they don't honor them. They are given to the ghosts and goblins. They are just given to them.
Followers.
To the followers, they don't accept because they are at a very higher level. They are, Kali or Durga or Shiva, they're all worshipping to the Supreme Lord. So this was an example to understand that, the offerings which are made, they're obliged to take, but they don't take. They are just give it away.
So they take the Mahaprasadam of the ghosts and spirits, the worshippers.
Yes, they are taking the prasadam of the ghosts and goblins. They're not taking the prasadam of Kali or Durga or Shiva. That is a wrong conception people are having. So they are not taking that. They're taking the Mahaprasada of ghosts and goblins. That is right. Yes.
So I think, I remember Mataji, I think Vishupati Mataji said in the Bhakti Shastri class that we also act in different modes, but it's the dominating mode that we are in most of the time is the mode that we are actually in.
Yeah, reflected, yes.
Remember, Mataji, you did the calculation of which mode we are in the class.
Yeah. Even the animals also, remember I talked about the animals also, how they are in different modes, the cow, the tiger and the monkey, so they are also in goodness is cow, goodness passion is tiger, and goodness ignorance is monkeys, so that's how it is.
Yeah, it's the effect of combination of.
Yeah, it's all combination, and it can be combination and permutation are many combinations and permutation it can be.
So all good. It was good discussion. So back to this, the last part of that purport, 23. So it is, why is it said that we should worship only Vishnu? Like the verse says, like Shreyamsi Tatra Khalu Sattvatarunenam Sihu. So why is it that we should ultimately worship Vishnu? And that's why in the end of that purport, Prabhupada writes that no demigod, however, can release the imprisoned living being from the conditioned life of material existence. This can be done only by
Vishnu.
So that is why in Bhagavad Gita it is said, 7th chapter, you pray to the Devatas, you are a Mudha. Why? Because you are asking for things that are temporary. You are asking for things that are not going to go with you.
Not permanent, not eternal.
So it is not intelligent for you to ask that or do activities to acquire that. So that's why it is Mudha. Whereas if really we want the highest goal of life or something high, then no other devatas can give us that. So why waste time? That's the reason. So Krishna is analytically telling us why we should worship, whom we should worship, and why we should worship. All right, we'll move to 24.
Yeah.
Ardiva daruno dhumas tasmad agnisgrei mayaha tamasastu rajas tasmad sattvam yad brahma darshanam. Somebody else can read.
Firewood is a transformation of earth, but smoke is better than the raw wood. And fire is still better, for by fire we can derive the benefits of superior knowledge through the Vedic sacrifice. Similarly, passion, rajas, is better than ignorance, tamas. But goodness, sattva, is best because by goodness one can come to realize the absolute truth. which we have discussed here today.
Correct, very nicely. So already Devti Mataji's put it so nicely that it's already been, been covered. Just one thing is, it has been explained that, yeah, got that. That's right. So, yes,
Yeah,
and
fire.
not just fire, smoke, and fire.
Fire, smoke, and fire.
So something important is that the inherent nature of firewood is that fire is inside it. But the fire cannot
Ignite itself.
come out on its own.
Yeah.
You see, the fire is there, but it cannot just come out on its own. It needs some external stimulus, right? So it needs like when there is forest fire, there is rubbing. So the fire comes out. So similarly, Prabhupada writes that the jivas are exactly like that firewood. And the spiritual master is the one that facilitates that fire to come out of that firewood. So this is something that's very, very important. And the spiritual master, so it is again another aspect important is firewood has the fire. But if the firewood is dry, and if the firewood is moist, and if the firewood is
Wait.
under the water,
Under the water.
the firewood is still the same, right? The fire in the firewood is still the same. But the firewood that is dry, what are the chances that the fire inside can come out faster? Very high.
Very high, yes.
If it's moist, what are the chances? Lesser. It will take a lot more effort. In the water, oh my God, practically impossible. So similarly, a person in the mode of tamas is exactly like the firewood
in water.
In water.
Underwater, in the water, yeah.
Somebody in the rajagun is the firewood which is moist. And somebody situated in the mode of goodness is like the firewood which is dry, ready for the fire to come out. And that's why it is in this section it has been recommended we should do activities in the mode of
Goodness.
And only the spiritual master can ensure by some special empowerment. Only the spiritual master somehow can get the fire not only from the firewood which is dry, he can also get the fire from the firewood that is moist and also from the firewood that is dipped in the water. That is the greatness of the spiritual master. So this is something very nicely Prabhupada explains. Pretty much everything else is covered in some form or the other. Go to the next one.
25.
Just leave this slide on, Mataji. It's nice. As we read, we can browse through. We go to 25.
Yes.
He jire munayo adhyagre bhagavantam adhokshajam
Bhagavanam phalojadam
tattvam shuddham kshemaya
Tattvam vishuddham kshemaya
kalpante yanutaniha.
Kalpante nutaniha.
Yes.
Previously, all the great sages rendered service unto the personality of Godhead due to his existence above the three modes of material nature. They worshipped him to become free from material conditions and thus derive the ultimate benefit. Whoever follows such great authorities is also eligible for liberation from the material world.
Correct. So this is also a bit of a summation of, and very similar to the verse, number 22. You see number 22? That was a natural conclusion of that Science of Bhakti section. Right? Where it is mentioned that since time immemorial, all the transcendentalists have been rendering service to Krishna. To Krishna.
Smriti.
Yeah. But they did the service how? Two important things are there. Prabhupada emphasizes two things. One is it has to be done with great delight. Very important. So it has to be susukham. Susukham kartum
Kartumapayam.
Yeah. First. Second is such devotional service is enlivening.
Meaning to the self.
Right? Now, because it's enlivening, you are delighted. And because you're delighted, you feel enlivened. It's a cyclic process. Right? So this is where when we engage in bhakti under the guidance of the spiritual master, then what happens is when we are doing any service, we first ask ourselves, am I feeling delighted? Am I doing it with delight? And while doing the service, after doing the service, before doing the service, am I feeling enlivened? Even though we may be doing something every day, when we're doing Aarti, are we enlivened? Or we do it thinking, oh my God, another 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, my God, I'm going to finish. Right? Is that the thought? I mean, sometimes they do come when we're in a hurry, so we are not at that level, to be honest. But if it is something that is coming to us every day, then we should be a bit worried. But if it is something we look forward to, we wake up in the morning, we look forward to doing Mangalarti, we look forward to chanting, we look forward to reading Prabhupada's books, and we feel enlivened, means, okay, we are on the right path. We have a long way to go, of course, but we are on the right path. This is very important. Same thing is now repeated here in 25. So all the great sages who rendered service, they rendered because they knew that he's above the modes. Right? And they worshipped him to become free from material conditions and get the ultimate benefit, because they know what is the ultimate benefit. So it is a conclusion of this section, but it is again a similar reinstatement of something that has already been mentioned. So they have done it. So whoever follows such authority is also eligible. That's why Prabhupada emphasized the point that you just follow what I'm telling you to do. You don't think twice, you don't read too many things, you don't go anywhere. You simply follow my instructions, and I have the key to the back door to get you to Krishna. You follow my instructions, taking you to Krishna is my responsibility. How much more magnanimous can an Acharya be? Can you imagine? And in this, in this verse that Mataji pointed out is the Mahajan. So we have to follow somebody. So when we say great sages, because somebody might, misinterpret this by saying all great sages. So Prabhupada emphasizes when we talk about great sages, we are not talking about all Jataris. We are talking about Mahajan.
12 Mahajans here.
There are only 12. And which verse is it in Bhagavatam? Which canto talks about the 6 Mahajans or 12 Mahajans?
6th canto.
6th canto, yeah, I just gave it out.
So Prabhuji,
yes.
Sure, that three sections, Bhagavan, devotional service and devotee. So these are the section of the devotees.
Yes.
Which comprises the whole
Of
section.
course, it's all kind of connected.
Yeah.
But this specifically is talking about that. So this Mahajan also a very important topic. This Mahajan verse, take this as a homework. Find out which is the verse that states the 12 Mahajans. It is a conversation between Yamaraj and his followers, the Yamadutas. I'm giving you a hint. It comes in Ajamin Leela. But find out the verse. There are 2 verses. One verse talks about just the 12 names, and the second verse says their greatness. So let us discuss it next week. Okay, we'll move on to 26. Mumukshavo ghora
Rupan.
bhutapati natha
Bhutapati natha
Narayana kalaha shanta
Narayana kala shanta
Bhajanti Yanasuyavaha.
Bhajanti Yanasuyava.
It's not read.
Those who are serious about liberation are certainly non-envious, and they respect all, yet they reject the horrible and ghastly forms of the demigods and worship only the all blissful forms of Lord Vishnu and his plenary portions.
Very interesting point here. Those who are serious about liberation. Are we serious about liberation?
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay, now answer two questions. Wait. Okay. If we are serious about liberation, are we non-envious?
No.
Half.
Okay, you have one more chance. Wait. Do you respect everybody?
Half.
Actions, mind, and words. Do you respect everybody, even your so-called
No.
50%, Prabhuji.
percent? So then we are not serious about liberation. Sorry to say, I'm not saying this.
Yes. So that means we're discriminating.
But we are 50% there for thing, and we can work on from now.
Prabhu, we are trying.
Huh? No. Those who are serious about yeah. So
Trying means we're not
First of all-
serious.
First of all, as per the definition of pure devotional service, we should actually not think about liberation at all.
Yes,
Not
correct.
think about because it is anya vilashita shunya. So what have we studied in Nectar of Devotion, that we should not think about any form of liberation. Our only aim should be to please the Lord. So whether the Lord
Serve
is
the Lord.
anywhere, in hell, in heaven, in any place, our only desire should be to please the Lord. That is actually ultimate pure devotional service. And if we are thinking, even if we are thinking we want to go back to Godhead and this liberation, that liberation, it is all our material desire. It is not that we are doing pure devotional service. It doesn't come under pure devotional service.
Just the bhakti. We need only bhakti, is it?
It's only do bhakti to please the Lord as the Lord wants to be pleased. Also not
Yes.
that I want to.
Can I add something?
Yes.
The liberation means from material attachment, material detachment. So we can do the loving devotional service to Lord. In that way, we need the liberation.
But when you're talking about liberation, then that is the 5 liberation which comes, right? We had learned, what are the 5 liberation? Samipya, Saujya, then Salokya, Sarupya, and then one more.
Sajujya, Samipya.
Shashti. So these are actually the 5 liberation. Yeah, and when you talk about liberation, these are the 5 liberation. But we are not, if we want pure bhakti to Lord, then we should not think about liberation. We only have to think about to do pure devotional service, only to please Krishna. But the Lord devotional service to please Krishna. That should be the main intention.
So that is the highest. Do not even think about it, but at least to get there, there is that intense desire, whether it is to get out of this material world or to serve Krishna. There has to be some impetus. It might not be pure, but there has to be some impetus, right? So even to have that strong desire, we need to have these 2 qualities, or we need to acquire these 2 qualities. So if we are not, if we are envious, because we are in this material world because of envy, right? We are envious of Krishna.
Yeah.
And that envy we carry on in this material world, and we are envying all the living entities around us in some form or the other. Correct? So until we have that level of, until that enviousness is there, how can we make progress? And that enviousness is there, how do we know? By the way we show our respect to other living entities. If we respect all, knowing in full knowledge that Krishna is there in every living entity, then automatically our whole approach and attitude would change. And until we become non-envious, we can't even become serious
Yes.
The process of devotional service. So it is not that only to get liberated you need these two, but these two qualities are required if we are serious about getting out of this material world. If we are serious about actually doing or trying to do pure devotional service to Krishna, or at least have the desire to move in that direction. This is very important. And that's why one of the things to show that we are non-envious, Prabhupada gives in the last part of this purport. Because sometimes, when we talk about Devata Puja or this Durga Puja or Ganesh Puja or that Puja, most of the devotees who are quite sound and matured in knowledge, except for them, sometimes they get swayed in their views. We are asked that, okay, should I go to Ganpati Puja or not? Should I pray to Ganpati or not? I was asked a question last week by a devotee. That person is a Brahmin initiated. And the person is asking me, if we pray to these acharyas, or our Vaishnava acharyas, why can't we pray to Ganesh? Because he's also a devata, he's also a devotee of the Lord. Right? So those questions come up. So that's something that we should be very clear again, that what is the position of these devatas and what is the most appropriate way to not only respect them, but also appropriately deal with them, have that relationship with them when we have to. And then how do we deal with things like Durga Puja or Kali Puja? Especially Mr. Prabhu and Siddhananda Mataji will know, we come from a place where in a few days from now, there will all be full, all the roads will have Kali Puja. And you can imagine the form of Kali, Rudra. She's not doing anything except for the Mundamala,
Killing the miscreants.
And she has that, very fierce form, very angry. She's got these weapons and she's cutting off, chopping heads as if she's chopping vegetables. And people are worshipping them. And after the worship, they are sacrificing a goat or something, and they are offering it and saying, Kali Prasad, have Kali Prasad. So, you guys are religious, you have Prasad, come, have Kali Prasad. In fact, when I came to Auckland many years ago, I was invited to the Kali Puja. I went, and Bombay, where I used to live, we never used to have any non-veg for any religious functions like this. So that much culture we had. But here when I went, they said they knew we used to go to ISKCON a little bit. So they said, okay, you have prasads. And we said, okay, if it's prasad, we just take a little bit. We had to have prasad anywhere at home. And when they started serving, we were not even standing, thankfully. We were seated. They started giving prasad to the children. And when they came and started sitting, we found that smell. And then when we looked at one of the so-called prasad plates, we found big pieces. And I looked at Vishnupati and we said, it's time for us to run, not go, run. So this is going on, in the name of religion, in the name of worship.
Even I would like to share, when I was small back in my country, in India, Kali Puja used to be in Shamshan Ghat, means where the dead bodies are burnt. So there used to be a big Kali Puja, and we used to go with my father, and we used to go and we used to honor that. And I had so many questions at that point, but nobody to clarify. But that was a bhoga which is offered to Kali, that is rice and meat. And everybody, especially all the Bengali community, coming and eating that in the burning ghat. But dead body is like burning, it's on the verge of finishing that. Yeah, that's happening. But we are eating like that. Yeah, and how obnoxious that can.
Sumit Prabhu has something to add.
Yes, Prabhuji. I think recently there was a situation where at Bhumi Pujan, Achal Prabhu told us that at the end, he said that you should pray to Ganesha because he is he's more in link to auspiciousness. For any auspicious work that you start, you should pray to Ganesha. And that question came to my mind, like, why Ganesha if I'm praying to Krishna? So I remember once you told me that our level of surrender to Lord Krishna is not at that level. So sometimes we have to go and pray via the medium. So in this scenario, say Ganesh, Lord Ganesha, and then, and that's why one of the reasons. But the main goal of that praying to Lord Ganesha is that we get this moment that the situation becomes auspicious, so that we can be devoted to in the service of Lord Krishna more. So basically, even if you pray, it should be in connection with to Lord Krishna rather than for any other gain also. So just something that I thought maybe if you can, yeah, Prabhuji.
No.
Means Onukulleno Krishnanushilanam.
But that would come under demigod worship, isn't it? So it is said that Ganesha is able. Yes.
Can you just undo the screen sharing so that we can see each other? Yeah, all good. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, continue.
Yeah. So sorry, Prabhu. I was saying that just based on what Sumit Prabhuji said, that would come under demigod worship, though, isn't it? Because and I know I've heard in a lecture that Ganeshji is able to remove all obstacles from a devotee's lives because he's holding the lotus feet of Lord Krishna on his head.
Narsimhadev.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So he's able to bestow or remove obstacles because of that benediction. But I think this is a good discussion. But I would say that would come under, going back again about giving water to the root of the tree would be to go to Krishna, isn't it?
Yeah. Malati Mataji, something to add?
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. We had a discussion when we were doing our nectar of devotion, some to-dos and not to-dos. So in that, it was we have to get to the Ganesha. Yes. And we had a discussion with our Guru Maharaj's lecture on nectar of devotion, that why Ganesha? Because I had no Ganesha in my altar. And he said, what's wrong to put in over there? Because he is anyway worshipping Narsimhadev, Lord Narsimhadev. But you have to put them in a hierarchy way. So where your deities are Krishna and whatever is Gauranittai, Jagannath, Baldev Prabhu. And before Acharyas and Guru Parampara, you can put Ganesha. So they come at the lower level, but it is from Acharya to Ganesha to all our deity. That's what Guru Maharaj told us, explained to us why and how. It doesn't come under deity. We are not worshipping Ganesha. We are just following the parampara.
Same way, Mataji. I think when Prabhuji told us, it was at that just moment. He didn't say just do now from today only you do continuous worship. It was just that mere moment.
Yeah,
that's it. But the majority of the ceremony was with we were doing
Lord Narsimhadev. Yeah,
singing Mahamantra and so on. That's it. So, yeah.
So after that nectar of devotion, sorry, Prabhuji, after nectar of devotion readings and understanding, we all have got little Lord Ganesha, but that it's kept under the hierarchy. Means we don't straight away say Ganesha, take me to Krishna. We go Krishna and everyone come down to Ganesha and come to Acharyas. Before Acharyas, we go to Tulsi, Parampara. So it was very well explained by Guru Maharaj. And that's how I know. And Achal Krishna Prabhuji has done the Bhumi Puja with us as well. But that is just the step to take. I don't know if it is correct or not, but we are doing it.
Ask Prasalakshmi Mataji to give her feedback.
Yeah, and you don't fall under the deity worship when you have a Ganesha in front of our altar. You don't have that. Thank you.
I would like to give my understanding. In South India, how we follow is Ganesha is a deity for you to worship for obstacles, in the material life. So what Maharaj said is, as a form of showing respect to the Ganesha, you can always pray that there should not be any obstacle in the path of my devotional service. That should be your mood. So if you're doing any particular activity and if somebody is telling you to worship Ganesha in that process, our mood should be that, in doing that particular activity, there should not be any vigna for in the process of devotional service. That should be our mood. And, I also used to do something called Lakshmi Puja, we do it with a kalash, So when Maharaj was here, this was in 2003. So I asked him, should we continue? This was happening in our house, as a parampara. So he said, yes, you can always do this puja because it is a form of kalash. But you should keep Krishna also next to Lakshmi. You cannot worship Krishna by herself, You should keep Krishna next to her and worship and pray to her that you please give Krishna bhakti, rather than asking, to give money or, prosperous wealth or something like that. That should be your mood. So I think to do any activity, if somebody is telling to worship some demigod, but your mood consciousness should be the main thing, in which mood you are approaching the deity, that is the main thing, rather than whether we want to worship or not. That is not the main criteria. The criteria is the consciousness, what you want by worshipping the deity, that is the main criteria. So we cannot disrespect anybody just because we follow now Krishna, and I think Krishna will not even like that if we do that, because they are all above a different platform, and by disrespecting them, we cannot go anywhere, we cannot go anywhere. I hope I have not said anything wrong. If there is anything, please clarify or please correct me.
That's
Really
nicely
nice.
explained,
I
Mataji.
think
Really
it's
nice.
absolutely correct and very nicely put, because this is what, what you touched on was a mood in what you have to do. That is very, very important. And in the text also over here, in the Bhagavatam, it is said that, we cannot disrespect any of them.
Yeah.
Respect has to be shown to, even if we are crossing by any temple, there is no harm in going and paying obeisances to that temple, to the, we should not think that, oh no, I'm doing only Krishna, why should I go? That means I've got such a big ego that, are we higher than the demigods?
Yeah.
We question ourselves, are we higher than the demigods? If somebody is doing puja and they are asking us to come, and there are close friends, we might as well go and we can pay our respects. That way we are not displeasing that host also, and we should not, that's how we keep a very big barrier among us and among other people, that, oh, we are Krishna Bhakta. So we should totally cut off connection only.
Yeah, and one more thing is Maharaj says that by thinking that way, you have a subtle pride in you, thinking that, you are greater, and the person who is telling, maybe he is lower than, and he is, I am great devotee, you have that subtle pride, and it comes out, eventually as an action, So you should respect, that's what he says.
Yes. Maharaj always says that we have to respect each and every, like over here it is said, each and every living entity.
Yeah.
So if it is each and every living entity, right from Brahma to ant, because when the ants come, we are not supposed to kill the ants also, we are just supposed to shoo them away from the house. So then who are we to discriminate and not pay respect to the demigods?
Yeah. True.
That was good. That's a good discussion. Having said that, I would just like to add that just because it is mentioned in devotion and we read here Ganpati, doesn't mean that tomorrow you go and buy a deity of Ganpati and put it in.
Yeah. Prabhuji, that's actually a very good point, because I'm sharing our experience. When we first came into Krishna consciousness, there was a little bit of pressure that because we had Ganesha and we had Shivji as our deities, along with Vishnu and Krishna, there was this pressure that maybe we should give them away. But that used to really, it didn't sit well with us. So it's only when we discussed it with Maharaj, and it was like, they're still members of Krishna's family. So again, we went with the philosophy that as long as the platform is at a lower level, that's fine, because you're not worshiping them, you're keeping them, and Krishna will be very pleased because they are there in the same family. So yeah, I'm glad we didn't take the option of actually, because a lot of people in Fiji had given the like the Ganeshas and all that away. So yeah, but just sharing.
I'm in the same situation as Mataji. I got a couple of demigods, like you say, Shivaji, Ganesh ji, and then we got Ram, Lakshman, Sita, Hanumanji, and Lakshmi Mata, and so on, Saraswati Mata. But then again, I approached Jananda Maharaj, and Jananda Maharaj said, do not keep them on the same platform, keep them on the side and worship them and respect them. That's all. That's what Jananda Maharaj said.
And can I ask one question?
Yes.
Regarding respect to demigods, so how we can show? The worshipping or how?
I have one question.
Yeah.
We should worship all acharyas, right?
Yes.
32 acharyas.
So there are not 32 acharyas, but 32 is the lineage that we see in the introduction of Bhagavad Gita. We have got from Krishna to Prabhupada. We should worship all of them. Are we worshipping all of them?
No.
Every day?
No.
Then how are we saying we are connected to Parampara?
Yes, our own Guru and Srila Prabhupada.
So
well, that's the tree, isn't it? But yeah.
Yeah, the root and the tree.
Yeah, the root and the tree.
Correct. When we are worshipping our Guru, when we are worshipping Prabhupada, we are not worshipping them in isolation. We are worshipping them as the representatives of all the parampara. Right from Guru to Krishna, including Prabhupada, including Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, everybody. So just by worshipping Prabhupada, everybody is worshipped. Similarly, we have to be very clear in our mind, by worshipping Gaur-Nitai or by worshipping Radha Krishna, we are actually worshipping Ganeshji. We are actually worshipping Shivji. We are actually worshipping Saraswati Ji. We are actually worshipping Lakshmi Ji. And if we don't think like that, what is the point of reading Bhagavatam? What is the point of reading Bhagavad Gita? What is the point of getting knowledge? There's no point. Then we become just like how we were. We are just adding to the family, okay, yesterday I was worshipping this.
You bring all of them.
I'm not saying you should give away. I'm not saying you should give away, but I'm also saying that just because somebody is worshipping Ganesh
Doesn't mean you should.
and I am not, that I should go tomorrow
And get it. Just, yeah.
You see where I'm coming from?
Yeah.
So I'm not saying this is wrong or this is right. I'm just saying we should have the correct understanding, and most importantly, like Vasuveshwar Mataji mentioned, we should take correct guidance from our Guru or from a senior Vaishnava and get the correct understanding before we take any action. That's why we need guidance. Otherwise, see, if we have to take our own decisions, then it's a very risky matter, especially in bhakti. So we always need guidance at every step. But the guidance has to be supplemented with our own understanding through Shastra. And that's why Maharaj always mentions that Bhagavatam should be a part of our existence. Just like chanting is a part of our existence, or we have to make it. Bhagavatam also should be part where we are applying that knowledge. Then when we are faced with these situations, these questions, we are very clear in our own mind. If we are not clear, what will we preach?
Exactly. Yeah.
True. Imagine as a preacher, somebody, you call somebody home and this person comes and sees the whole khandan.
Yeah.
And then you tell him Krishna is the origin, Krishna is the source. He's a supreme personality of Godhead, and he'll think, oh my God, achha. This guy is saying Krishna is the source and he's got the full khandan on his altar.
Right.
So what is
because that's from existing, Prabhu.
No. I'm just saying that we should have that understanding. So I'm not in any way pointing out fingers or saying what you're doing is wrong. What I'm only trying to say is we should have that understanding, and we should, even though we may keep Ganesh, we should not feel I'm only worshipping Ganesh.
Yeah.
My point is that you may be having Ganesh on the altar, which is fine. But that doesn't mean you're only worshipping Krishna, Ganesh, and Prabhupada. You're actually worshipping all the devatas. You're actually worshipping all the acharyas. But we have a limitation. We can't have so many photos in our altar. Even normal altars look so big to an ordinary person. Right? So,
Yeah. The point is not to, if you have been worshipping them for a long time and you have that attachment, and it is very hard to take them away from the altar. But it should not be that that's what, like, not all the demigods are there. Then it gives a very wrong information. And having said that, we have also come across devotee. I mean, they are coming for programs and all. They had a big deity of Ganpati and they moved Gaurnitai on the side, and Ganpati was above and the Gaurnitai and the Radha Krishna were on the side on the lower level. What is this?
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
is this?
Yeah.
So, this shows that correct understanding is not there. And then you're worshipping, you're doing all the festivals of all the demigods. And that is also not correct again. Right? Because we are worshipping Krishna is the root. Then if you're worshipping Krishna, all the demigods are being worshipped. Then like today there is Durga Puja, it doesn't mean that, I'll go and celebrate the 2 days Durga Puja over there from morning till evening I'll be there. Right? Though even I'm a Bengali. Right? Because I'm loyal to Krishna now. I have to be loyal to Krishna.
I think, Mataji, that realization, it will take time to come, I think. That understanding, it will take time. In the beginning, it may be difficult because they are, attached.
Yes, gradually.
But it gradually, it takes time to realize that. I think it will take time.
Yeah.
I mean, we have
And
all
even
been
in
worshipping.
And even in our preaching, we have to be very, because that's a very delicate subject. Yeah, it's a very delicate topic.
We don't touch those topics, Mataji. It is only in this forum.
Yeah.
We don't touch those topics in other people because we are in this forum, we can discuss. But having said that, other new people and all will never touch these topics. It's very, very contradictory topics.
Yes.
Controversial, actually.
Very sensitive as well.
Very sensitive as well. Yes, very sensitive as well.
Okay. So thank you very much. It was a good discussion. Very robust. Very nice. Hopefully there's some take-home points. Malki Mataji, one last comment.
Thank you. Thank you for everything. And, now since we are committed to do the Saturday sessions, so the notes, can we go back to Schoology? And the Mataji's, Revati Mataji's notes were so wonderful. So we can start sharing and study from there, please.
Yes.
We have to take permission of Revati Mataji.
Or everyone is, or Revati Mataji, you tell us the fees or service we have to do for you.
No.
But share your notes, please.
No. Where shall I put?
Mataji, take it.
Take it, Mataji. Take it.
I think Sandhya Mataji is calling. Will call you to her house because she cooks, that matar, aloo, and puri and paratha. So she's going to call you, isn't it?
We all will serve you one prasadam after lockdown is. We go to the green level or a yellow level or whatever level. Thank you, Prabhuji. So let us have the Schoology going on so that we can get the notes and repeat all those things, please.
Yeah, I think we already set it up. I just have to just send the code again. And everybody can start uploading there.
Please, Prabhuji. And I think everyone is saying that, not just me, but I'm telling on behalf of everyone.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you, Mataji.
Taken your instructions on board.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you once
Thank
again.
you.
Thank you so
Hare
much.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Saturday. What is the homework next Saturday? Any
So
homework?
next Saturday homework is two. One is
Mahajans.
Mahajans and second homework.
Who are the 12 Mahajans?
12
Yeah,
Mahajans.
that is easy homework. That half already discussed out. But second homework is important. Chapter 3 talks about incarnations of Krishna. So how many incarnations and what are they?
Okay.
I drew a very big picture, Prabhu, for that. It took so many nights to draw that. I'll share next week.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
you.
Special thank you
Hare Krishna.
for joining.
Yeah, thanks.
And we hope she keeps joining us and giving us realizations.
Yeah,
Krishna will
really nice.
Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, how's about you? You were going for your operation, right?
No, not yet, because they're doing only emergencies now, because it's slightly delaying.
Okay.
Oh.
So is it next month, is it now? Have they given you any date?
No, no.
Maybe this month ending.
They said-
Oh, okay. Yeah. Just keep us informed, Prabhu. And any help, Mataji?
1 week
Please
before.
call us. Any help? We are there.
Yeah, no problem.
Just a phone call. But I'll check on that. I'll check on you.
Only 1 week before, just.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, Prabhu, take care.
Thank you.
Okay. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.